Hey all, Tony Bing here, hello and welcome back to the channel. Now tonight I will be doing a video that's very similar to one I done a few weeks ago on the channel. The video in question was how to fix the defenders. So I looked at their existing kit and I tried to work out ways we could add a bit more flavour to the kit, make them a bit more exciting and powerful without actually making them too powerful. Now the character that I'll be looking at tonight is one that was only really released yesterday and she's not been properly released yet because the campaign event isn't live, and it is of course Storm. Now if you are up to date with videos on the channel, you will know that she is a hero that in the right circumstances can be exceptionally strong. However, the circumstances are very limited. It's essentially raids and you have to run through various nodes and raids in order to get her to the point where she can really shine and show off her full potential. Now that for me is a bit of a pity because Storm's an iconic character and I would like to see her have a bit more use in other modes of the game such as Arena and Blitz, and also there's only really certain raids that she really shines in as well. So with all that in mind, what I've actually done, I've had a good look at her kit and I've hopefully designed this in a way that you can certainly still retain the element of her being the nuke character in raids should you choose, so you can build up all her charges, get to the end of the level and then one-shot Ultimus, which is a pretty awesome sight to behold. But if you want to use her in the likes of Arena or Blitz or Story, if you want to use her a little bit differently in the raids and not be stuck to using the basic, you can do that as well. Now before we look at the changes I have made, what I'll do is I'll bring up her existing kit and I'll quickly talk you through that. And I'll talk you through any problems I have with that and how I will be looking to address them. The first ability we look at here is the basic then. Now I wouldn't be looking to change a massive amount at all on this because how it works is pretty nice. You've got the primary target damage and once you start to charge it you're doing additional damage as well to adjacent targets. I would still retain the 20 charges and that's something that I believed was an issue, the maximum amount of charges, but with the changes I've got I've hopefully got a way to work around this, and of course with this you would still gain +1 charged when you do use the basic. When we look at the special, this takes 8 turns to charge. Now it's similar to the ultimate in that it takes a huge amount of time to charge, meaning you're stuck using the basic, and that is something that I'm not a massive fan of on her kit, so that's something that I will be looking to address. Also I'll be looking to address the fact that with her special you've got the 8 turns to charge, but if you actually have 2 charges it allows you to get the 100% chance to slow. So you could fire off this skill, 2 charges and 2 basics later, you've got a 100% chance to apply slow again, but you still need to wait a further 6 turns before you can actually cast the skill again, and that is conflicting in a way for me. Now when we do look at the ultimate, it's called Storm of the Century, so this is 10 turns to charge. When you use this particular skill, similar to the special, you lose all your charges, so that means that you have to use really either the special or the ultimate, otherwise you're gimping the other skill, so you're almost forced into using one or the other, which is a real pity there, and you've also got the whopping amount of charges it takes. Finally, when we look at the passive, I wouldn't really be looking to change anything on what it does at the moment in regards to the chance to speed up and grant assist now, because I actually really like that, but I'd be looking to add a little bit of flavour into the passive to hopefully make our kit a bit more interesting there. So let's actually check all that out now. So what I've tried to do when I've looked at Storm's kit is, and I've tried to retain the aspect of her being powerful in raids and being able to nuke down bosses by building up charges, but I've tried to drop in a little bit of flexibility in regards to how you can actually use her skills and how you can actually choose to play it, if you want her to be more of a crowd control character or more of a nuke style character. Now if we look at her basic first, the only thing I would change on this is actually the damage numbers, and this is so they fall in line a little bit better with the rest of the skills. I will mention I'm not great at maths, I'm not a number cruncher person at all, so don't put too much emphasis on the actual exact percentages I've got down here. They could be out a little bit on each of the skills, but with this it's still the same in that you attack the primary target. This time it's for 150% damage, so that's been pulled down a little bit. If you're charged, in addition, you attack adjacent targets for 150% damage as well, and you gain 1 charged up to a maximum of 20 charges. So we still do retain the 20 charges there. Now when we look at the special and the ultimate, this is where I've made the biggest changes really. So The big issue I had with Storm's kit is that it's built in a way that allows you to choose to an extent how much crowd control you want to apply or how much damage you want to apply, but you're completely limited in that respect due to the fact that your skills take turns to actually charge up before you can use them. So as mentioned again, for example, you can get 100% chance to slow after 2 turns, but you can't use it until 8 turns have actually passed if you've already used it at the start of the fight. So for that particular reason, I would completely remove the number of turns it takes to charge a skill from a special and ultimate and make it so they're essentially similar to basic and that you could cast them every turn if you want, and that's the reason why I've pulled down the damage numbers on them. Now if we look at the special first, you'll see I've actually got the 4 little pips, but this no longer relates to the number of turns for a skill to charge up, but this would relate to the number of charges. The reason this is relevant to still actually keep is the AI will fire off skills when they're maxed out. So this way, after 4 charges, which would be using your basic 4 times, the AI would fire off that skill, but it would also be a visual representation for yourself as well, so you know how high you are in charging it. But if we look at the breakdown of it, you would attack all targets for 75% damage. Doesn't seem a lot, I know, but you could use this every turn if you so wanted, and also with this you would have a 20% chance to apply slow to each target. Now if charged, chance to apply slow is increased by 20% per charge, so that would mean after 4 turns, if you wanted to actually save up charges for 4 turns, you could fire this off and you would have the 100% chance to actually slow all the targets there. Now also with this, when you use it, this is a big change I've made, is that you then lose charges equal to the number of charges used. So if you use it after 2 turns, you'll lose 2 charges. If you use it after 4 turns, you'll lose 4 charges. That's pretty self-explanatory, I imagine. The reason for that is that if you're building up your charges pretty high, let's say you're trying to work towards the 20 charge ultimate and you're 10 charges in, you don't want to use a special and lose all those charges, but it would be fine to use a special and potentially lose 4 charges because you can still work your way back up again. Also with this, I have retained the element where it says this attack is 100% extra focus and cannot be dodged there. Now when we do look at the ultimate here again, this is the same as the special in that you no longer take turns to actually charge it, it's just the charges that go into it, so you can cast it whenever you want. For that reason the damage numbers are slightly higher on the special, because the special does damage and crowd control, but they are lower than the basic that's doing the adjacent target damage. So with this you would attack all targets for 100% damage, and the damage is increased by 75% per charge, so that would mean in total you could get up to 1600% damage. On live you can get up to 2100% damage. Now when you use this you would lose all stacks of charge there, so this is your nuke you use really at the end of a raid if you've got as far as the final boss. Now the reason I've pulled down the damage that this would actually do is I've added some extra parts into our kit when it comes to the passive. So the passive is Ride the Wind. Currently you've got the pretty awesome aspect of it, which is all based around the X-Men. So on turn, 50% chance to apply speed up to X-Men or X-Force allies, and then the 50% chance to grant assist now to self or random X-Men or X-Force allies on each of their turns. So that is really nice there. But what I've added in is that you start off with a 10% chance to attack a random enemy target with a lightning bolt. So this is just called in from the sky randomly to hit the enemy. When it does that, it would apply stun, and this could actually be activated on each X-Men or X-Force ally's turn. Additionally with this, if you're charged, chance to attack random target is increased by 1% per charge. So this would mean if you were to charge up your full 20 stacks, you would have a 30% chance on a X-Men or X-Force allies turn for a random enemy to actually be stunned there. Now if we actually look at all that together, then you've got the basic, which is still working up the charges. You've got the fact that if you want to just simply use a special every 4 turns and have a more of a crowd control style character, you can certainly do that in slowing down the enemy. If you want to build her up towards being a nuke at the end of a level, you can do that, but you can still actually throw in a little bit of crowd control now and again, and you're only losing the 4 charges, you're not losing the full 20 charges if it was maxed out and you were wanting to hold on to the ultimate to later on. And you've also got the fact that as you're building up your charges, that after the 4th charge, when you've got your 100% chance to slow and you don't yet have your full damage on your ultimate, you'll actually be increasing, even if it's by a small amount, but you will be increasing the amount of crowd control that you could offer in an X-Men team through the passive and that chance to stun there. So you are seeing a bonus in between the special being maxed out and the ultimate being maxed out. You're seeing a bit of an increase in her kit there. This was actually really hard to explain all this because she is quite a complicated character, to be honest. I hope this has all made sense. I hope it's been interesting. I've enjoyed doing this and I'll probably do it for more characters as well in future. And saying that, if there's any characters you would like me to have a look at, let me know in the comments below. Let me know in the comments below what you think about these changes as well. As I mentioned, don't focus too much on the numbers because I'm not a number or math guy. I'm really not great at that. Focus more on the actual flavour of the changes and how they could hopefully open up our kit, and let me know what you think. And as always, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you all again soon.